Well, in case you didn't know, Daredevil Born Again is currently in production, and we've been getting some interesting updates about the show, including some shooting locations, but more interestingly, that 18 episode count and how that's going to work on Disney+. So let's take a couple minutes to dive into those details. Well, in case you didn't know, Daredevil Born Again is finally in production, and they are currently shooting up in Yonkers, New York. Additionally, there are some very, very curious details about how the show might be released on Disney Plus and the implications of that. So let's start with the shooting location and then dive into the schedule. We are getting reports that they are currently shooting courtroom scenes up in Yonkers, New York. Now, you'll see a couple pictures floating around in the background, and these came via MCU covered over on Twitter. Now, this isn't a big surprise because we've been told for a long time this is going to be a law drama, and I do expect to spend a lot of time in the courtroom with Matt Murdock. This might be part of the reason we're seeing so many castings for the show. Kind of a case of the week type story could be manifesting in the courtroom as part of a driver very similar to She-Hulk for this character during the series. Now, the fact that they're shooting on location in Yonkers really isn't a big deal, but it is nice to get a couple of set pics and confirmation that the show is actually shooting. Now, the really big news though has to do with this 18 episode release. As many of you have known, from the very beginning when the show got announced, the fact that it was getting 18 episodes has always been eyebrow raising and driven a lot of questions about what's going on. And now we might actually have an answer. Now, this is coming via the rumor mill and hasn't been confirmed by Marvel Studios, but is managing to show up in a lot of places, and it makes so much sense I figured we needed to talk about it. Now, yes, we are getting an 18 episode season of Daredevil, but apparently that's not how it's going to be released. What we are hearing is that the upcoming Daredevil Born Again will be released in 3 separate 6 episode arcs, which quite honestly makes a lot of sense. I suspect Marvel Studios and Disney Plus are going to release this in storyline format, meaning 6 episodes will probably tell a complete tale of Matt Murdock, the supporting characters, and finish that story off before moving to the next. This basically means we're really looking at not 1 season of Daredevil Born Again, but 3. And honestly, I love this approach. I was a bit worried about stretching a story out over 18 episodes. That could be fairly problematic, and as many of us know, the longer some Marvel shows run, the more filler material ends up being stuffed in there. It sounds to me like they have 3 concise stories they're trying to dig into, and I'm sure there'll be interconnectivity between the whole season, but it sounds like we'll get definitive conclusions of each arc before moving on to the next. Now, this also lends a lot of support to the idea that this series will indeed be setting up a lot of the MCU street-level heroes, and could be why we're hearing so many rumors of various other characters appearing. We already know that John Bernthal is going to appear in the show, but we've also heard about Christian Ritter's Jessica Jones, as well as a whole litany of other characters including Echo, and maybe even some new characters like White Tiger. All these characters will fit Marvel's street-level future really, really well, and I honestly believe this grouping of 6 episodes for each story is likely to help facilitate that and make it a little easier to tell a definitive tale without oversaturating whatever new characters they might introduce. Now, this hasn't been confirmed by Marvel Studios as of yet, but it does make so much sense it's hard to ignore. No matter what, we're super excited about the upcoming Daredevil season, and even more excited that we might possibly be getting 3 seasons, well, 3 mini seasons, of The Devil of Hell's Kitchen. I think Daredevil is way more important to the MCU's future, and this show is going to define New York City in a way nobody is expecting. But we'll have to wait and see.